From beating up Superman to calling it quits on the franchise, Ben Affleck was one hell of a Batman, and now he's officially hung up his cape. So you have to wonder what happened.
Regardless, I'll need to put a leash in his house, and I'm gonna need the suit.
The Bat interrogated 6 people and came away with nothing. It was Bruce Wayne that got the information.
Well, Bruce Wayne can't break into Lex Luthor's house.
Affleck debuted as Batman back when Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice came out. I have to say, he jumped onto the scene with a bang. When I first heard about Ben Affleck putting on the Batsuit, I was ecstatic. However, it's been a long time since that happened, and for good reason. It turns out that Ben wasn't too happy with the way things were being run back at Warner Bros. Now, despite there having been a change in management, Affleck has refused to take up another role as Bruce Wayne. I mean, it's not that bad since we've got Robert Pattinson stepping up. Still though, Ben Affleck was something else. It's worth mentioning that we'll be seeing Ben Affleck on the big screen a few more times. That's because he's set to reprise his role as Bruce Wayne a couple more times in the DC universe. Sadly, it's been confirmed that it will be the final time we see him suit up, possibly forever. This begs the question of why he quit in the first place.
Yeah, I have decided. No, thank you very much. You know, I tried to direct a version of it and worked with a really good screenwriter, but just kind of couldn't come up with a version that couldn't crack it. And so I thought it was like, you know, time to let someone else take a shot at it. They got some really good people, so.
Well, he just got fed up with all the drama. According to recent interviews, Ben Affleck wasn't happy with how things were being run. He came out and talked about how unprofessional everything seemed. It made the whole prospect of coming back for another movie seem off. Now, there were reports of Affleck sitting down with both James Gunn and Peter Safran. However, nothing substantial has been decided. Affleck later came out and talked about how there's no chance of him making another Batman movie again. It's sad to hear, but it seems like the guy has made his decision. As fans, we can hope that he changes his mind sometime soon.
And what about, you said you know Harry to do Batman, a solo project.
It's not that I'm in a hurry or not hurry. That's also on my plate right now is Batman. That's what I'm working on, trying to get the script right and just trying to get going.
However, it doesn't look like that'll end up happening. There was even a time when rumors were floating around of Affleck potentially directing a DC movie. However, according to insider sources, it looks like that's a dream that probably won't be fulfilled for quite some time now. Affleck disagreed with some of the higher-ups in the company a while ago. Now, even though new people have been brought in, Ben isn't too keen on working with the company again. Fans were left wondering whether we'll ever see him sit on a director's chair for a DC movie, but let me tell you, after everything that's happened, it's very unlikely. While rumors were floating around of Ben Affleck potentially directing the next DC movie, those rumors were shot down pretty quickly. Ben himself came out and talked about the whole thing. He talked about how he's perfectly fine with James Gunn as a person, but directing a movie for him might be a bit of a stretch. I mean, I don't blame the guy. The last few DC movies haven't exactly been Oscar-quality films. However, I'm not gonna lie, the prospect of having Affleck sit in the director's chair and showing us how to do things the right way doesn't sound that bad. I mean, he's directed some nice quality films before, so we could rest assured knowing that Affleck would deliver big time.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, there's a conventional wisdom that says people don't see adult dramas, people don't see movies in the Middle East, people don't see movies that have complicated themes, and so I heard a lot of naysaying. It was really encouraging to have.
Imagine that, Ben directing and starring in his own Batman film. You can be sure that it would have been a banger of a film. The funny thing is that the project that Affleck walked away from later evolved into the now separate Batman starring Robert Pattinson. All of this makes you wonder why he even picked the role of Batman in the first place, right? Well, he did it for his kids. Affleck had a pretty positive relationship with the people at Warner Bros. During the early days of taking up his role as Batman. When asked about what made him choose this role in the first place, he talked about how he wanted to make his kids happy. He wanted to play a character his kids could look up to and enjoy watching. If I'm being honest, it kind of makes sense. The man just wanted to do something worthwhile for his family. However, as the projects kept rolling in, things started to go south pretty quickly. I mean, I'm sure he tried his best to keep things civil for as long as he could, but from what I can tell, things just didn't work out in the end. I'm also pretty sure that the initial promise of getting to direct and star in his own Batman film was a pretty nice bonus. However, as time went on, that deal went from sounding awesome to horrific pretty quickly. Anyways, apart from all of this, let's talk a bit about his last few upcoming appearances in the DC universe.
Yeah, you know, you go into these movies knowing there's a degree of expectation from the fans and that they're going to pay meticulous attention to detail. Everything that comes out on the internet, that's even the most minor nonsense, you know, turns into a big story. It's just part and parcel of doing these
this genre of movie.
Even though they're just cameos, DC couldn't even give us a proper last few Batman movies. All we're going to get is Affleck starring in 1 or 2 cameos in the next few DC films before he dips for good. The man has given quite a bit to the franchise, so you'd expect that he'd get a bigger send-off. But sadly, that's not the case. There's even a chance that those cameos end up getting cut. If you ask me, I feel like something is going on between Gunn and Affleck. And if that is the case, then we probably shouldn't hope for any cameos from the man anytime soon. These Hollywood beefs can get pretty real pretty quick. Besides, we've seen Affleck at his best in the franchise, so there's not a lot of disappointment to be felt here. He did enough when he was beating up bad guys and soaring over the skies of Gotham City. So even though he's leaving now, you can be sure that people are going to be enjoying his films for a long time to come. Before we move on, there's still the question of whether his cameos in the upcoming DC movies are confirmed. Well, that's the problem. They're not. See, as awesome as Ben Affleck is, DC still can't seem to recognize what a huge asset he could be for the multiverse.
Well, that's the idea. The idea is there's no movie, yet. It's not a movie, but there is the plan to make a Batman movie.
Holy coincidence, Batman! Any room for a plucky sidekick?
So instead of making sure that he sticks around, or at the very least in this case gets his cameos confirmed, they're choosing to leave it all up to speculation. Now, I love a good mystery or two, but when my favorite actor's part in films is on the line, I'd rather skip the guessing game and get straight to the good part. Hopefully, once DC realize how important Ben really is and was to their franchise, they'll make up their minds about whether or not to keep Affleck in the upcoming films. And so, we come to the final question of the day. What's next for Ben Affleck? Now that Affleck won't be working with the DC universe, you have to wonder what he'll end up doing next. Look, there's no denying that he's a huge star and can land any role he wants. He's probably going to end up acting in some awesome films in the future. However, you also have to wonder whether he'll shift over to a more directorial role at some point. He's already got a bunch of experience in writing screenplays, directing movies, and more. Plus, as someone who's been in the acting game for so long, there's no denying the fact that he'll be able to connect with the actors of whichever films he directs on a higher level. The man is, in every sense of the word, the pinnacle of Hollywood. He's got the experience, love, and commitment to his craft needed to be successful as a director. I, for one, am very excited to see what he can come up with in the future. Fingers crossed for the chance that he'll end up doing a few cameos for future DC films. Of course, as I mentioned before, it'll only be for a couple of films, and even that isn't a done deal. Honestly, it's a bit of a mystery where we'll see Ben next. One thing's for sure, and that's the fact that he's become a big-time family man. This means that he'll be looking to spend as much time with his family as possible. With his kids growing up, he'll probably want to make the most of his time with them before it's too late. He's already had an amazing acting career, so if he's looking to take a bit of a break, I'd say that he's definitely earned it. That was everything on Ben Affleck hanging up the Batsuit.